Okay, so suddenly my internet got interrupted. So you can see these are the 9 elements, and I was telling you the unique value proposition or the value proposition is the most important part of this BMC, business model canvas. So also as future graduates of SAP, you need to understand this very clearly. If you cannot deliver value, you are not valuable. And getting employed would be a great challenge. And even if you get employed, you won't receive a good salary. Okay, so therefore, yeah, money is not everything, but to do everything, you need money. Right? So therefore, keep that very well in mind. So money is not something bad, right? If you earn money in an unethical way, that's wrong. Of course, that's the only wrong thing. But on the other hand, see some religious organizations, they are very rich, and that's why they could serve the society very well. Certain religious organizations are extremely rich. They have good money. So they don't consider money as something wrong. Okay? So therefore, earning money and using the money for good purposes, I don't see anything wrong with that. Okay? So therefore, to earn your due contributions or to get your share for the value you deliver, you need to deliver proper value. If not, you won't be able to survive in this very competitive future job market. Okay. So then we came into the revenue models. So here, how many revenue models are there? How many revenue models are there? There are eight revenue models. Thank you, Buddha. Thank you very much. So I'm very happy some students are interacting, but some students are not at all interacting. They're just, I don't know what you're doing. So we have to understand, right? And we have to apply our knowledge. Okay, so these 8 models are there. So what are these 8 models that day I explained to you? So that day even I gave you a small assignment to discuss what are these. So let me remind you. So the first one is subscription to access to content. You gave me a very good example for that. One student who was seated at the front gave an excellent example for that. What's that? Netflix. So subscription to access means, right? You pay as users, you pay a certain amount, maybe for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, or 1 year, annual subscription, and you access any amount of information in that website. Now, for example, Netflix, right? If you pay a subscription, you can access to their movies, right? So that's subscription access to content. Newspapers, right? That day I took dailymirror.lk. So let me take you there. www.dailymirror.lk. So it's a website that I frequently go into. So if you see this website, okay, that's advertising revenue. They are advertising different things. Okay, now if you go to this website, you can see it's a news website. Now you see who are the owners of this website by going to the bottom. You can see there is content, the editors, and other information. Right, you can see this information is there. Let's say it's loading. Okay, so information is there. So editorial is there. Dailymirror.lk. They have Gmail account. That's very rare to see. And some other information is there. Okay. So these are the newspapers that they have. Lanka Deepa, other Sunday Times, Daily FT, Tamil Mirror, Desha, Middle East Lanka Deepa, Mirror Edu, the Life Online, High Online, likewise. Different news archives are there. And also they have here some services like e-paper. So you can access these newspapers online. E-papers, Lanka Deepa, these are the e-papers that are there. Now you can see, right? But these e-papers, if you pay a subscription, let's say for 6 months, 1 year, whatever, you can get access to any e-paper under that category. Maybe the Lanka paper you can see daily or weekly. You can get access Sunday Times. You can take the Sunday Lanka paper. You can access Sunday Lanka paper as well, which is published on Sundays. So you pay an annual subscription and you get access to that. Any amount for all things. Even past archives, you can go and watch them. That's it. Of course, then here, if you go to Facebook, they will give the Facebook information. So that's where they are using social media as well. So likewise, it's a fully fledged website, a news website. So did you understand what's subscription to access to content? Is it clear? So Netflix is a good example. News websites to the e-news papers, a good example. Is it clear, Peter?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So this website is owned by Vijay Newspapers. Vijay Newspapers Limited, and they are the publishers of this, right? And you can access their newspapers. If you go to e-papers, Lanka paper, now for an example, of course, it will take you and it will show you on the first page. But to access the content, you will have to pay. Access the entire content. So here you can see a key is there. So only the first page is there. Then you say pay now. Of course, then you can pay and you can get access. Subscription plans. See it? So let's see the subscription plans. Let's see what are the subscription plans. No, it's not allowing us to see that you fit. It asks us first of all to pay. I don't think we need to pay with it. So likewise, subscription, that means 6 months, annual, bi-annual, or whatever the subscription price might be, plans might be there. So that's how subscription to access to content works. It's like Netflix also. Then you have the second model which says pay-per-view content access. Now, if you go to Amazon and purchase a book, you can only download that book, is it? You will be able to view only that book. So pay-per-view means you are paying only to see that book or that movie. There are movie rental websites, so we can rent a movie, so you can only watch that. It's not subscription for a period, it's that you pay for an item. So those are called pay-per-view content access, right? Then you will also see CPM. That I told what CPM. Can someone remind me what CPM?
Cost per mile.
Cost per meal. Cost per meal. Good. Thank you for your attempt. I really appreciate it. Cost per meal display advertising. Now here what happens is, now if you go to again that lankadeepa.lk or dailymedia.lk or whatever, you go and see here. Now here in this website, Hutch has advertised. Can you see that? Hutch has advertised. And here some other organizations also have advertised. Even Keels has advertised. Keels come. Keels. Now, my question to you is, this website is owned by Keels? Is this website owned by Keels? No. It's owned by Vijay Newspapers. Keels is advertising. Now, so Keels will have to pay Vijay Newspapers for advertising. Keels will have to pay, right, Vijay Newspapers for advertising. So how Vijay Newspapers is going to charge Keels? So it might be cost per meal, right? Cost per meal. So let me open Excel file, and tell you how it's going to work. Cost per meal advertising. Let's open Excel. So how Vijay Newspaper is going to charge Keels? So I'm going to tell you. They might say, okay, it's 20 CPM, let's say, or let's put it in rupees. They might say 2000 CPM. 2000 CPM. What does it mean? I'll show you. So let this one open. Excel. Our beloved Excel, isn't it? I don't know, without Excel, how we could have survived. But now we have alternatives, isn't it? Google Sheets and etc. But Excel is very versatile. Okay. So they might say, okay, 2000 CPM. CPM display advertising. CPM stands for what? Cost per minute. Cost per minute. Cost per minute. That what it means is, for 1000 visitors who come to the websites and view this advertisement, he'll have to pay, right, 2000 rupees to Vijay Newspapers. So let's say to Daily Mirror, we had, let's say we had 1 million customers, 1 million visitors. 1 million visitors. So how much Hills will have to pay? How much Hills will have to pay Vijay Newspapers? The Vijay Newspapers Daily Mirror website, right? 1 million customers pay. How much they get? It's very simple. You do a small calculation like this, right? So you are going to divide, okay, right? For 1000, you are going to, for 1000 views, you are going to pay, right, 2000. Then for 1 million, how much you have to pay? Right? For 1000, you will pay 2000. So 2000 divided by 1000 for 1000 views. And then multiply by what? 1 million. So you might, oh, no. Oh, Varadli. It's like this. So, right? For 1000, you have to pay 2000, isn't it? Then for 1 million, how much you have to pay? for 1,000 views. So it's CPM for 1,000 views. Remember that period. Mil means 1,000. So it's that you are not going to pay 2 million. So how much you have to pay? Hmm? Do the math and tell me. Of course, yes, you have to pay that amount for 1,000. So actually, we will never say for 1,000 you have to pay 2,000, right? You are correct. But again, right? Let's say 20, right? That time. Kill say okay. So now let's do the math. For 1,000, you have to pay 20. Then for 1 million, how much you have to pay? How much they have to pay? 20,000. Is it? So 2,000 will be very high, right? So what you will do is, okay, let's make it 20. Okay, you have to pay 20,000. So kids will have to pay 20,000 to Vijay newspapers for advertising in Daily Mirror, right? So don't make it 2,000. So it will be extremely very expensive for kids to advertise. So 20,000, I don't think, because there are about 10 million or even more visitors per period, like per month or whatever. So you can see. So this is how they will charge. So here for display, so this is called display advertisements. Display advertisements for display. Here's will have here's displaying the advertisement on the Vijay newspaper's website Daily Mirror, right? Here's will have to pay 20,000 rupees or $15. Then it's $20,000. So it's for advertising. But then the next one is a little bit different from that. So if you go to the next model, CPC advertising. CPC stands for what? CPC stands for
Click.
very good, excellent. Cost per click advertising. Excellent. Cost per click. In cost per click, what happens is, right now the customers will have to go to this website, and not that Keels will pay Vijay newspapers for just advertising that, just displaying that in the Daily Mirror website. Now the customer will have to go there and click that, and go to Keels website. Then only for that clicks, right? For that clicks, Vijay newspapers will be charging Keels, and Keels will be paying Vijay newspapers. So usually we never, now this is the first time, right, after a long time I clicked on a Daily Mirror advertisements, right, for last 20 years. Oh my God. So there's a small issue. The electricity went out, and I don't think my computer will last for a long time, right? So within 1 or 2 seconds, the computer will be getting shut down. At Mahargam area, there's a sudden power cut. I'm extremely sorry that we'll have to get a break now. So we'll take a 15-minute break. Now it's 8:20. So we'll meet at 8:40, a 20-minute break. And we'll hope for the best. And we hope that the electricity will be back. Okay, so let's take a 20-minute break, immediate break, because we have no electricity at Maharagama. I don't know whether it's a complete power cut in the island. Island-wide power cut, I don't know, but again, in the Maharagama area, it's not there. But I can see the students are still there. So we'll take a 20-minute break and meet at 8:40. Okay, because my computer won't stand for another 1 or 2 minutes. Sorry about that. Extremely sorry. It's completely unexpected, you know. So We did not expect, and there was no announcement. I don't know whether it's again a monkey post something. Okay, so we'll take a break for now. Okay, sorry about the interruption. So we'll meet at 8:40.
ஆனா இப்ப கயான கயான இருக்க சுத்தி அவங்கள பாக்குறது அவன் யாருக்கு உதவி செய்யலும் அவங்கள்ட்ட எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து பாக்குறாங்க. உதவினா இந்த பவானி அக்கா அவங்க அவங்களெல்லாம்
Students, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, Putta, thank you very much. Fortunately, I am back. Okay. So there was a sudden power cut in Maharam area, but again, in a few minutes, the power came back. So Putta, let me, but my computer got completely shut down. Okay. And then on top of that, there was an update. Windows update when it was restarting. There was a Windows update. So give me a moment. So let me start the slideshow and share the picture. So sorry about the interruption and sudden break. We were supposed to get the break at 9, but we had to take the break in between advance. Right. Okay. So let's again. So I was just taking a website, dailymirror.lk, and teaching you CPC and CPM and CPC. Right. So I think it's clear. Now, in the CPC, right, the people who come, the visitors of the website needs to click on the advertisement. Right. So that's a requirement. They need to click on the advertisement. If not, right, the advertiser will not pay dailymirror.lk or Vijay newspapers. So that's how it works. Right. So let me share the screen with you. Right. Okay. So here we were here. CPC advertising. We are now just not for views, not for the visitors who visit the website. Right now, you will be, right, Keels will be paying Vijay newspapers, Daily Mirror, for customer, for the viewers, for the guests who come to the website and click on their Keels advertisement. Right. So again, if it is CPM, right, is display advertising, and CPC is prospecting. So it's much more high. Maybe it's 50 rupees, right, per 1,000 clicks. So if there are people who let's say they have 500, right, or let's say not 500, let's say 3,000 people who clicked on that, then 50 divided by 1,000 into, let's say 5,000 people clicked that, then into 5,000. So that's how you would be calculating the cost per clicks. Right. Then there's another way of advertising. That's where sponsorship of sections. Now that's where it's like leasing a property. Now you are leasing a section of the website. So the show. So again, let's go to dailymirror.lk. So let's go to dailymirror.lk. Now let's say a company could lease an area in the website. Let's say, for an example, Hutch has leased this section. Hutch has leased this section. And like in a property lease, they might be paying 30,000 rupees per month for leasing a section on the website. So that's called what? That's called the next, right? Sponsorship of sections, content of widgets. So that's where sponsorship of sections, content of widgets. So basically, that's working like a property lease. Now people are leasing an area in the website. This area. So regardless number of clicks, regardless number of views, Hutch will have to pay dailymirror.lk or Vijay newspapers, let's say 30,000 rupees per month. So that's why it's called sponsorship of sections. Is it clear, Buddha? Right. That's sponsorship of sections. Then affiliate revenue. What do you mean affiliate revenue? It could be CP or CPC. I'll tell how it works. So it's like, now I told you earlier, now customers will have to, now it's, if it is display advertising, CPM, right, based on number of viewers, right, kids will have to pay Vijay newspapers. That's CPM. Then CPC means, right, the customer, the viewers will have to click on this. So based on the number of clicks, Vijay newspapers will be charging kills. But on the other hand, this one says something different, affiliated revenue. Affiliated revenue means, yes, the viewers will have to click on this, go to Keel's website and do purchasing. And based on the purchase value, Keels will pay a commission to Vijay newspapers. Okay, let's say I bought, right, for an example, for the night, for my dinner, I bought, let's say 2,000 worth of food. So what they will do is, right, Vijay newspapers will tell, okay, give us 30% of commission for giving you the business, giving Keels a dinner order. So 2,000 into 30 is how much? 30%, 600. So Keels will have to pay 600 rupees for that particular purchase that I did. Affiliated commissions, affiliated commission. So affiliated revenue. So first I have to visit, of course, so to it how it works. So I'll be a visitor of dailymirror.lk. So I have to click on this advertisement. I have to go to Keel's website and buy something out of that. And out of that, what I buy, I have to pay commission, right? Keels will have to pay a commission to dailymirror.lk for referring a customer for them. So that's called affiliated revenue. Okay, is it clear? So these are different models that how it works. Okay, then I'll give you a numerical example also. Is it clear? Right. Then comes subscriber data for email marketing. Okay, that's where you will be now in certain websites. When you go to a website, it will ask you email to download something or something. It will ask you email. So it collects your emails and then they can sell that email to a third party for their marketing purposes. So that's subscriber data for email marketing. So it's not legal sometimes because it's, if you give the consent to that website when they collect the email that they could use it for or sell it for someone else, then it's fine. But if it is not, it's illegal, right? They cannot collect your email addresses and sell it to others. But if you give your consent, then they could sell it and make money. So that's subscriber data for email marketing, and then access to customers for research purposes. Other way that you can make money is that you can give access to third parties to your customer data. Right? Facebook anonymously shares its data. Anonymously, it doesn't allow to identify who are the Facebook user, but terabytes of data you can have access to do research purposes. But again, not with direct identification. So if a company is allowing its customer data to be accessed by third party for research purposes, they would charge for that as well. So that's access to customers for research purposes. Actually, the last two right, is the last two models, subscriber data for email marketing as well as access to customers for research purposes. It's not so popular. But the first six are quite very popular. Okay, now let's do a small numerical example. So let's do that numerical example over here. Okay, we come to the numerical example. Okay, let's take this example. Let's take three situations. So target examination question as well. So look at the first one. Monthly site visitors 100,000. Right, the first instance is monthly site visitors 100,000. 0.5 of these visitors click through affiliated sites where 2% go to buy business reports. So this website is selling business reports, right? Right, and it's advertised in someone else, and then it's taken to that website which sells business reports, right, or services at an average order value of 100 euros. The affiliate commission is 25%, right? So Daily Mirror is advertising this someone else who is selling business reports, the advertisements in your website, and in Daily Mirror, let's say there are 100,000, of course, there are much more, but in this situation, let's say there are 100,000 monthly visitors. Then 0.5% click in on this advertisement, and 2%, in fact, out of that, buy that particular product, business reports from the other website. And the average order value is 100 euros, and the affiliate commission that that website needs to pay Daily Mirror is, let's say, 25%. So what would be the revenue? Right. Shall we see how to calculate the revenue in the first instance? Let's go ahead. Here you can see the calculation is done. So 100,000 into 0.5, it's 500 who click through, and only 2%. Now, although usually when there are advertisements on other websites, you don't click that, but here only 0.5% click that, and it was 500, and 2% conversion rate means out of that 500, right, they go to the business report website, but only 2% buy the business reports. So that means 10 people, 10 customers buy that, and the average order value is 100. So the total order value is 1,000. Out of that 25%, you have to pay for the original advertising. Right, in this case, Vijay Newspapers or Daily Mail. So that means 1,000 into 25% is 250. So that's how this works. So out of the 6 models, this falls into what? This example falls into what? Students, make a වැටෙන්නේ මොන වර්ගයට? What it falls under? What does it fall under?
Affiliate revenue.
Very good. Excellent. It falls under affiliated revenue. Right. So the customers will have to, the customer, first of all, the viewers will have to view these advertisements in Daily Mirror, and they have to click on that and then go to this particular website and do a purchase. And out of that average order value, a 25% commission will have to be paid to Daily Mirror, Vijay Newspapers. So indeed, very, very correct, accurate, 100% accurate. Let's see the second one. Second revenue model. Monthly page views 1 million. Average of 3 ads are displayed for different advertisers. So in average of 3 ads are displayed for different advertisers at 20 CPM in each web page. And you assume that all 1 million visited. That's what it says all ad inventory sold, which is rarely true in reality. But again, you expect 1 million and all 1 million, let's say, came. So what's the revenue in that case? 20 CPM. So this falls under what? Cost per mil, display advertising, isn't it? So here we can see this is the situation where we have CPM display advertising. That's the third variant. So here what happens is, so how you can do a very easy computation. So 20 CPM is $20 per thousand. So 20 divided by 1,000 into 1 million. Right? 20 divided by 1,000 into 1 million. So then you can get the value. So it's here. Right? So, and of course, I forgot to tell you, there are 3 advertisements, by the way. So it's, you have to multiply that also with 3. There are 3 advertisements, not only 1 advertisement. So I think you can remember. It says very clearly here. It says 20 CPM and it says what? 3 ads per page. So there are 1 million visitors who visit this particular web page, and there are 3 advertisements. So 1 million into 3 million. Right? So then 20 euros per thousand. So 20 divided by 1,000 into 3 million, because there are 3 advertisements. So it's in fact 60,000. 60,000 euros. Because remember, there were 3 ads, not only 1. If it's 1, then you could just multiply by 1. In our early example, it was 1. But here now there are 3 ads. So that's why 20 divided by 1,000 into 3 million, it's 60,000 euros. So earlier it was affiliated, it was only $250, but now you can see it's 60,000 euros, but it was 250 euros. Let's take the third situation. The third situation is subscribe to weekly newsletter, 50,000 e-newsletter, broadcast 3 times per month, has 4 advertisers and are paying a rate of 10 CPM. Again, that's display advertising. Now it's by way of newsletter. Newsletters, you know that we get email, in emails we get newsletters, and in each newsletter there are 4 advertisers, and it's broadcasted 3 times per month. So 50,000 into 3 into 4. That will be the total ad revenue, isn't it? And divided by what? Divided by 1,000 multiplied by 10. So 10 divided by 1,000 into that amount. So let me show you. Okay. So 50,000 into 3 into 4, and all, let's say, people watch that, all 50,000 subscribers. And so 600,000. So 50,000 3 into 4. So divided by 1,000 into 10, it's 6,000 euros. Is it clear? Take this. Okay, students. So I think you saw how revenue could be earned through websites, popular ones indeed. Is it clear, brother?
Yes, sir, clear.
Very good. So you can see this is how we, but now if we compare, these models now in between, now revenue model, online subscription, what's the advantage, what's the disadvantage? So there are advantages and disadvantages. Subscription is that you pay for 1 month or 2 months or 6 months or 1 year. So what's the advantage? Of course, the advantage for the advertiser or advertisee, that means the person who is advertising others, advertisement would be a continuous revenue stream. So Vijay newspapers will be getting continuous revenue stream for their content because it's a subscription. So every year they will be getting money. But of course, difficult to get visitors to commit to an ongoing agreement. Yeah, I might be subscribing for 1 year, but after 1 year, I might lose interest. And after that, I might discontinue. So there is a disadvantage as well. Then pay-per-view. So for viewing, what's that? So instant fulfillment likely to appeal if article or reports meet someone's immediate need. Now pay-per-view means that means you pay per item, not subscription. You pay per, now for an example, you might buy an Amazon book. So there people get that item immediately. And you also get revenue accordingly. But difficult to provide sufficiently compelling, unique content that is not already freely available on the web. But on the other hand, what you can see is most of the videos are on YouTube, and also the same information might be freely available. So no one would like to download it by paying. Now, particularly, I think when you are doing your research, right, you need to download certain articles, isn't it, from different websites, research articles. Sometimes you have to pay $29, $39. But on the other hand, sometimes those articles are available somewhere else, free of charge. For example, maybe in Sci-Hub. That's a website that makes certain articles, research articles, free. So therefore, here, that might not be that much viable. If that's available free of charge, no one would pay. And similar content might be also be there. Right. And then advertising, now this CPM particularly, right? CPM, cost per minute display advertising. So it's relatively easy to set up, and there is this Google AdSense. This is a platform there the Google will be advertising on your website. If you have a website, you can link with Google AdSense, and Google will be advertising different other advertisers and paying you, right, based on the views. But on the other hand, advertisers have to be recruited and payments managed. But it's on the other hand difficult to, because you'll be now Google will have to advertise on your website, and sometimes you might even see some problems. They might be advertising sometimes inappropriate content on your website because you don't have control. Display advertising. And of course, now if it is Google, then it will be giving you advertisement. But on the other hand, if you are dailymirror.lk, the newspapers, then you will have to recruit advertisers who will advertise on your website. It's not easy. Now there was Hutch and Heels. Of course, they are to advertise, but for Daily Mirror, it's not a big issue. But if I'm going to start a website, I don't think anyone would come and advertise on my website. So getting advertisers, recruiting advertisers, or having advertisers would not be easy. Then affiliated revenue. So individual transaction can be significant value, of course. So you might go and buy a book in Amazon and you can get a commission out of that. Say the book value is, let's say, 2,000, 5,000. So you're getting easy money. 25%, 30% commission. But again, as we saw in the earlier case, difficult to recruit affiliates and work best with high volume consumer markets rather than business markets. So you might think, then why customers should come to your website? So the advertisers, now for an example, Amazon, they will advertise by themselves. They don't want to advertise in my website and sell their books and pay me a commission at the end of the day. Right? So difficult to recruit affiliates and work best with high volume consumer markets rather than business markets. Revenue only generated if sale is made. A cost per click arrangement is better for a publisher if you are a publisher who is publishing books. So affiliate revenue, if only a transaction occurs, you are paid a commission. So it's very rare that transactions happen in that manner. Okay. So what you have to understand is there are advantages as well as disadvantages of each revenue model. For the examination purposes, a possible question would be, okay, a question like this, right? What are the advantages, right? So like for an example, this summarize the revenue models which are used for each site by looking, okay, you can say, well, maybe this is a what are the advantages and disadvantages of different revenue models? The answer is given here. So I have given 4 revenue models and what are the advantages and disadvantages. Possible examination question. And you will see most of the time this question was there. Second question would be, okay, this one. Okay, you'll be given 3 instances. You will see in all past papers, these are there. And you will be asked to compute. That's the only computation you'll be getting under this subject to do a calculation for revenue in this manner. The only thing that usually differs is the values. Maybe at the exam, it says monthly site visit is 200%, right? Then visitors who click through is 0.2%. And then it says 2% or let's say 5% by. Likewise, there might be changes only on the numbers. So this is a target question. So put 5 asterisks, which I see in a lot of past papers, this was tested. Right? So possible question would be again, it would ask the advantages and disadvantages of revenue models, as well as the computation of revenue under these scenarios, under these 3 scenarios. Right? So that's how it was tested so far. Do you understand? Is it clear? Any questions? Questions, concerns? Now go through this very carefully. Watch the videos, go through this carefully. You have now a recorded video. So we took a great effort to get this recorded as well. Already it was a problem, but now we got it recorded as well. Okay. So we discussed that as well. And then we already discussed the difference between disintermediation and reintermediation. Just some possible examination questions as well. What kind of questions could be asked? Disintermediation. What do you mean by disintermediation? You remove intermediaries. For an example, Dell, right, rather than selling it to wholesalers and retailers, intermediaries, now Dell, the customers could directly buy from the Dell website. Reintermediation. Now, reintermediate means you put new breed of intermediaries rather than using traditional intermediaries. For an example, Facebook marketing rather than traditional print media marketing. We discussed these things. So describe 3 different revenue models for a portal like Yahoo. Of course, we discussed 8 types of revenue models. So also I taught you what's buy side and sell side and market-based e-commerce. Buy side is what? Buy side is what? The company is dealing with their suppliers. Then sell side, the company is dealing with e-commerce, dealing with whom? With their customers. But these are new ones. So please underline and record this. Market-based e-commerce. Can you give an example for market-based e-commerce site? Can you give an example? Market-based e-commerce site. What's market-based e-commerce? Can you give an example? There's a very nice example, intentional example. What's that? What's market-based e-commerce? An example? Market-based e-commerce? Students, are you with me?
Alibaba.
Alibaba, okay, very good, excellent. Alibaba.com. Yeah, suppliers meet customers. It's a platform, isn't it? In Alibaba, there are vendors, and then you can go and meet. Right? You as customers could meet them, and you can do transactions. Another very good example is what eBay. In eBay, if I want to sell something, I can just register and I can meet a customer and sell them. So I'm not owned, or I'm not a part of eBay as a vendor, but it's a neutral marketplace. It's like Irida Apollo. In Irida Apollo, I don't own Irida Apollo. I don't land. Let's say I'm a vendor who sells vegetables. So what I do is I just go there and I will rent a space and I'll sell my vegetables. Likewise, in eBay, the same thing. So that's market-based e-commerce. Suppliers meet customers in a neutral marketplace to agree sales. So not necessarily they are owned by eBay. I'm not an eBay vendor, right? I'm not owned by eBay. I'm not affiliated eBay. I'm an independent supplier. So I get registered there and provide my goods and services. So that's called market-based e-commerce. But please make a special note out of it, because we have discussed buy-side e-commerce and sell-side e-commerce, not market-based e-commerce. So please underline this and make a note out of it. And also please put a record an example. The example is what? eBay, Alibaba. So again, the question on disintermediation and reintermediation. So revenue models, we discussed 8 types. So micro and macro environmental we discussed. Right. Now comes a case study which I'll be discussing on Saturday. A common case study. Right. So please read this case study. I'll allow you time to read on this Saturday. And it will be on a group basis. And I'll ask you to present. Today I'm not going to do that because I told you, I know my good students might be still traveling maybe, and maybe logged using phones, so I'm not going to bother you. I do understand, right? But however, here what you'll understand is, right, why a common pair. So here this is the case study. So go to your textbook and you can bring it printed if you want, or you can read it online on that day. A common case study. So to locate the case study, go to your textbook. So let me go to your textbook and show you where it's. Let's find your textbook. Yeah. A common case study. I have taken it out as well. So let me put this case study into the website so you can easily access that. So this is an interesting case study where there's a corporate failure. So on Saturday, we'll discuss this. This is the case study. You can see it's only one page. It's a mini case study. Right? It's a mini case study. So what I'll do is I'll put that into the website also. So this Saturday we'll discuss that. So, you can bring a print or you can read it online. There's no problem. So you are 16DW 18A EX, right? Yes, indeed. So let me put a case study over here. There are a lot of things that are there, so I put that at the beginning. Under assessments, I put that. Right. Okay, so a common case study is there. So please read it and we'll try to address that. Right. So what went wrong? What kind of digital business strategies could be applied? And if you were the CEO, what could have been done to prevent this company failing? We'll see it's a tremendous failure of an online company. So what could have been done differently? And particularly as accounting students, what could you have done to prevent this failure? We'll be discussing. Right. So this Saturday we'll allocate time and we'll discuss that. So be ready. Okay. Both online as well as offline students. All will have to take part and each will have to present, isn't it, under each group. So it's a group assignment on a group basis. Right? Is it clear? Right. So now let me come to another area. So you can go and check the limits for the case study. So please confirm whether you can see that case study, Buddha. I uploaded it. You can see that, no? It's a one-page case study. And of course, I'll allow time to read it on this Saturday. Okay, then so let me now teach you more about how to earn money on the internet. It's called online revenue models. So we will discuss several. I'm going to screen a video now. How to earn money. Please hold on. So let me share this one with you now. And please take down notes while he's explaining what are the online revenue models. Right? First of all, let's try to share the screen. Please tell me you can see the screen as well as whether you can hear. Can you see the screen, Putta? Now this gentleman,
Yes, sir.
okay, Putta, very good. Now he will say practically, right, how you could make money out of the internet. Okay. He's going to discuss almost all revenue models. So please take down one by one. He's going to tell what are the revenue models, and then he's going to tell what are the advantages as well as disadvantages of each model. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Okay, so let's go through them carefully. So he's explained this. So please take down notes. Right? Please take down notes. Again, a very, very important area, particularly for the examination purposes as well as for practical purposes. So if you are trying to start an online business, right? So he's teaching certain methods, how to make money, practical. So he covers almost all important models. So let's go through them and let's try to understand. And in each model, you will see what are the advantages. He explains what are the advantages, how easy to set up such kind of a business, and what are the risks that are there. You see some models can be replicated and can be copied by others very quickly. So then he gives his final recommendation. So you'll understand he's talking about something called private label goods. What are those private label goods? Drop shipping. He explains a methodology called drop shipping. What's that? Drop shipping. Private labels. You will understand. He gives with examples, he explains, and then he tells in his business. He's a real business owner, so he talks what he does, right? He combines certain methods as well, and you'll understand that some methods are very interesting and some methods are very lucrative. You will understand the final method that he explains is that if you can sell your own unique items, that will be great. Right? Okay. Let's see. Let's listen to this person carefully. And please take down notes. First of all, I will just play this video a little bit and ask you whether you can hear. Please let me know.
One makes sense for you based on.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Now listen very carefully. It's a very practical video this person is talking about. Even today, if you want to start a business, he will give you some advice online. And usually you don't get this stuff on books. So that's what he's a very practical person. Drop shipping, what do you mean by that? Everything he's going to explain. So let's listen carefully.
On your personality. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That way, as I release more content like this, you will get notified. And if you are on YouTube, click on the alert notification button. Now, every time I look at my Facebook feed, I see a brand new business guru pushing yet another e-commerce business model. And while most of these methods of making money online are in fact legit, the sheer number of choices is pretty overwhelming. Should I start my own website? Should I sell on Amazon? Should I do retail arbitrage? Should I sell wholesale? Now, while I don't consider myself a guru, I do quite get a few emails from readers asking for advice on what type of business to start. But here's the thing, every time I publish an e-commerce article that encourages my readers to start their own business, I find myself tiptoeing across a very fine line. Now, certain business models are very easy to start, but much harder to make money with.
So please listen very carefully. He's trying to teach you different business models, revenue models that you can do. So he looks at two things. How easy to start such kind of a business online. And then he also explains, it's sometimes easy, but hard to make money. It's risky. So convenience and risk is what he's trying to balance. So he'll be explaining several models. Let's see.
Other models are extremely profitable, but have a much steeper learning curve or upfront investment. Now, on one hand, starting an e-commerce business is simple, relatively risk-free, and doesn't require a lot of startup capital to begin. But on the other hand, running a successful business requires a ton of hard work, perseverance, and a little bit of luck. And the problem is that when I emphasize the enormous amount of work that is required to launch a company, I tend to turn people away from starting a business.
So he also explains a life truth, right? Of course, we have to be committed. Now, I told it some businesses are very easy to start online, but you have to have your commitment. So sometimes to make hard money, you can at the beginning of the business venture, you have to invest a lot of time, a lot of resources. That's what he's telling. And you have to commit yourself, like anything. Education, do you think it just comes? No, you have to study, isn't it? You have to attend lectures, you have to come for lectures physically, online. And some students just are logged in, they are not at all focused on what's going on. So you have to focus on, like, so likewise, he explains, right? Right? To be a business, to be really successful, you have to commit yourself. Right? That's what he's telling at the end of the day.
However, when I emphasize the simplicity, people tend to harbor unrealistic expectations and expect a quick path to riches. So what is the right business model to pursue? So what I hope to accomplish in today's video is to discuss the pros and cons of 8 different e-commerce business models and let you decide for yourself. And whatever you do, never pursue a business because of how easy it is to start. Instead, make sure you consider other factors like long-term sustainability and probability of success.
So what you have to understand is there's no shortcuts in life. Right? Of course, you can take shortcuts, but it's not long. It will be short-lived. Shortcuts are short-lived. For education, no shortcuts. To life success, there is no shortcuts. Right? So you have to commit yourself, you have to put your effort, and you have to systematically work through, then you'll be able to achieve that. Right? So that's what he's at the end of the day saying. But then he's going to explain 8 revenue model. So take one by one. Please take down notes. Take a piece of paper and write down. Right? Okay.
Now note, when I use the term e-commerce business, I'm referring to selling physical products online and not digital products. And as I tell you about the various business models below, keep in mind that some of these business models have low barriers to entry, low costs, and low overhead. Some of these business models are super competitive. Some of these business models require a decent sized upfront investment. Some require inventory, some require a website. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss the pros and cons of all of the popular e-commerce business models based on the following criteria. So each business model will be rated on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. So ease of getting started, how easy it is to launch your business, and does it require any technical knowledge, upfront investment, etc. Profit velocity, how quickly can you make money? Sustainability and risk, the defensibility of your business and its long-term potential to create sustainable income. The level of competition, how hard it is to make money, and can someone easily launch a competitor? Now, in case you haven't been reading my blog or listening to my podcast or watching my YouTube channel, I believe that the more work that you have to put in to be successful, the more sustainable your business will be in the long run. So in other words, if something is too good to be true and too easy to be true, it probably is. Now, the first business model I'm going to talk about is drop shipping with your own website.
Okay, what was that? Drop shipping. Please take down. Drop shipping, right? Using your own website. Please take it down. Drop shipping using your own website. That's number 1. Please take down. Drop shipping. Right? Drop shipping using your own website. Let's see what's that.
Now, for those of you out there who are unfamiliar with the term, dropshipping is when you put up a website to take orders online without carrying any inventory.
So dropshipping means, as he tells, you have a website and you advertise items there, but without having a single inventory. So how do you sell that? It's not digital product, it's physical products. So you put up a website, take orders online, but you don't have inventory with you. So that's cheating. No, it's not cheating. He says how this dropshipping, the term dropshipping is there. Now here, the first business model is dropshipping using your own website. So what's that?
And instead of fulfilling products yourself, you send orders over to your vendor, and your vendor is responsible for shipping the order to the end customer. Now, dropshipping offers the following advantages.
So what it does is you take orders and then you connect that, right, to certain manufacturers. So the manufacturers will have to send the items to the customers who ordered it. So you are just taking orders. So you don't manufacture, you don't have any inventory, you don't hold any inventory. You get, let's say I ordered from this kind of website. So the website will be taking the order and giving that to a Chinese manufacturer. So the Chinese manufacturer will have to send the customer, me, the items. So the manufacturer will have the items. So that's how drop shipping works. Is it clear? So, right, the e-commerce vendor or the e-commerce website is just taking orders and then connecting it to the manufacturers. And the manufacturers will be fulfilling the orders. But you will see that this is not that much of a sustainable model, isn't it? Because why can't the manufacturers have their own website, take orders, and give it to the customers, sell it to the customers? And say, if sometimes, if the manufacturers don't fulfill the orders, you are in trouble. Maybe the manufacturer doesn't have that items, no. And there's no items, and some manufacturers might not even sell that. So you are going to have the kick. The customers will complain to you because you advertised them. And you took their orders, you took their money. So you can see this is not that much, good way to do that. But some people do this. This is called drop shipping using your own website. So what are the advantages?
No inventory, because the vendor is storing all the goods. You don't have to worry about inventory at all. No order fulfillment. The vendor is responsible for shipping the product to the end customer. Low startup costs. All you need is a basic e-commerce website, which can cost as low as $3.95 a month. And it's simple to start. If you use a platform like Shopify, it is straightforward to launch a website. Now here's how it works. First, you got to contact wholesalers directly to get approved as a retailer. And then once you are approved, you instantly have access to hundreds of products that you can list in your shop. And because you're selling
I'm Sean.
And I'm Elliot.
And we're the co-managing directors of Booty, a sustainable underwear and clothing.
everything on your own website, you are in full control of your store brand. But the downside of dropshipping is that your margins are super low because someone else is storing all the inventory and doing all the fulfillment for you. And typically the profit margins for dropship stores are anywhere from 10 to 30%. Now, as a result, paid advertising becomes very challenging because you don't have enough profit margin to pay for traffic. And oftentimes you are limited to just running Google shopping campaigns only. Furthermore, competing with other shops that are physically carrying inventory is difficult because your margins are less and you have less pricing flexibility. Now also, because you're selling other people's products, you aren't in control of your product mix either. So let's say your vendor decides not to carry a certain product any longer. Well, guess what? You can't sell that product anymore. In addition, inventory and customer support can be a pain because you are not in control of the fulfillment process. So let's say a customer contacts you to complain that they haven't received their product. Because you are the face of the company, you actually have to take the blame and fix the issue even though it's technically not your fault. Now, sometimes vendors can be late and unreliable, and what sucks is that a poorly chosen vendor can destroy your store reputation. Now, managing inventory issues can become problematic as well. Sometimes you might sell product that's out of stock with your vendor, so you have to make sure you are in sync with their warehouse. So overall, what makes dropshipping fragile is that you're heavily dependent on your vendors for your business reputation. A vendor can cancel the arrangement at any time. They can discontinue products. They can be unreliable with order fulfillment, and because the margins are lower, search engine optimization becomes a huge factor for your success. So in other words, you will have to invest heavily in content marketing and depend primarily on Google for your sales and traffic. So overall, here's how I rate dropshipping on a scale of 1 to 10. In terms of ease of launch, I give it an 8. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 3. Sustainability and risk, I give it a 6. And level of competition, I give it a 3. The next business model is dropshipping from Amazon to
Okay. So is that clear? First business model, drop shipping using your own website. So you have a set of wholesalers, manufacturers, and what you do is you connect those manufacturers with your customers who have ordered through your website. Right? Is that clear, Buddha? So I'll be teaching you 8 business models, right? So the second one is drop shipping, not by your own website. Now drop shipping from Amazon to eBay. You are going to dropship from Amazon to eBay. Very interesting. So actually, sometimes it's considered not so legal as well. You'll see why is that. So you take items, you advertise items of Amazon in eBay, right, at a higher price. Amazon has lower prices and you advertise in eBay at a higher price and sell that to eBay customers. You sell that to eBay customers. You might think, sir, what nonsense is that? Why can't the eBay customers go to Amazon and buy that? But that's possible. So that's why it's not that much sustainable a strategy, right? Drop shipping from Amazon to eBay, right? But what he says is, and what we have seen is that Amazon customers and eBay customers are quite different in certain instances. There are two groups of customers. Some, of course, there are common customers. They would go to Amazon, they would go to eBay like me, and I try to buy at lowest prices the high quality items. But what he says is, and as well as what research indicates is, there are certain customers who are used to eBay, as well as there are certain customers who would be used to Amazon, and they don't visit alternative websites. So that you leverage. That's called dropshipping from Amazon to eBay. Let's see what he tells, and let's see what are the risks and what are the advantages.
eBay. Now, this model is also known as eBay Amazon arbitrage, and here's how it works. First, you find products on Amazon that are selling higher on eBay. Then you steal the images and the product copy from the Amazon product and post an eBay listing that is significantly higher in cost. And the reason this business model works is because people who shop on eBay tend not to shop on Amazon. And for some reason, there's lots of people on eBay who are not aware that they can buy the same goods cheaper elsewhere. And as soon as the auction closes on eBay, the seller then purchases that exact same product on Amazon and has it shipped over to the eBay customer. In other words, you are leveraging Amazon fulfillment and the cheap prices on Amazon to make a quick buck on eBay. Now, what's funny about this is that the product usually ends up being delivered in an Amazon branded box.
So then what you do is, right now, you took the order because now actually it's under eBay, you are an eBay seller and you are selling Amazon products. But the customers don't know that they pay a higher price than what they should have been paying in Amazon, on Amazon. But what you do is then you ask Amazon to send the items to the customers who bought those items from you in eBay. But the problem is, right, when Amazon sends the items to those customers, that's what is called drop shipping. You don't have any inventory. It's Amazon fulfilling the order. So you will see the customers will know it came from Amazon. And they will in fact know also the price. So this is not a sustainable business model. Drop shipping from Amazon to eBay. So that's what he's explaining.
Which can confuse eBay customers. Now, even though I absolutely detest people who do this, there's actually some attractive qualities to this business model. One, there's zero overhead cost. There's no website required. You don't need to find vendors. All you need is an eBay account and an Amazon purchasing account. And in a nutshell, the process involves listing an item on eBay at a higher price and then buying that product on Amazon and having it shipped. It's very easy to get started, but beware. You may get nasty letters from brand owners because selling this way increases their support costs. Some people will purchase the item on eBay, receive an Amazon box, check on Amazon to find the same product at a lower cost, and then complain to the brand owner instead of the eBay seller. As a result, brands hate people who use this business model. Now, the other big downside is that you constantly have to be on the lookout for new products, and you have to watch the prices on Amazon like a hawk. In addition, because brand owners hate this practice, they can complain about the image and copyright theft and potentially have eBay shut you down. And I've heard several.
So when you advertise in your eBay account, right, what you do is you virtually steal the images exactly from Amazon of the products. You steal them. Yes. So you don't regard you don't regard anything about the copyright. You'll be take the images, of course, without the Amazon logo, and you'll be advertising them, right, as your own products in eBay. And when the customers order those items in eBay from you, you put the order fulfilled to the customers from Amazon. So that's how this works. So this is called, now earlier under first business model, it was drop shipping from your own website. So you have to have a website and you took custom orders and then you asked other vendors to supply those items to the customers. But here it's drop shipping from what? Amazon to eBay. Okay.
Several cases where eBay sellers have been banned for copyright or trademark infringement. In addition, this business model is actually illegal and against eBay's terms of service, even though a lot of people still do this. So overall, this business model is good for cash flow, but has very poor long-term business potential. You constantly have to be on the search for new things, and you're not really adding any value at all. Not to mention that it's...
That client review was brutal.
We're gonna be underwater for weeks.
I'm already so pruny.
This is illegal and against eBay's terms of service. So here's how I would rate this business model on a scale of 1 to 10. Ease of launch would be a 10 because you don't have to do anything. Profit velocity is 2 because you can make sales immediately, but the margins are going to be super low. Sustainability and risk, I give it a 1 because you are at the complete mercy of Amazon and eBay. Plus it's illegal. If you get caught, you're going to get banned. And for level of competition, I give it a 2. All right, the next business model is called retail arbitrage, and it's become...
So this is the third one. It's called a retail arbitrage. Please take it down. The third business model is retail arbitrage. That one is what? Retail arbitrage. So please take it down. Retail arbitrage. Let's see what's there.
An increasingly popular business model in the last couple of years, and I've actually had a few people on the podcast making 6 figures per year with this model. Here's how it works. Most liquidation stores often sell products at rock bottom prices that are far lower than Amazon retail.
So what you do is you see certain manufacturers, certain vendors, right? They sometimes liquidate. That means they are at a loss, they are bankrupt, or they sometimes the year-end, they might have some kind of year-end sales that they want to, it's out of fashion maybe. So they will be disposing the items at a very low price. Of course, far lower than Amazon retail prices. Certain manufacturers, certain vendors. And some businesses might be going out of business. So it's there at liquidation prices, they'll be selling them. So what you do is, under this model, retail arbitrage, you are going to purchase those items in a bulk. But now you have to purchase them, so you have to carry inventory, right? Keep in mind. Okay, let's see.
So by buying up all the clearance and liquidation merchandise from stores like Marshalls, TJ Maxx, you can profit by selling these goods on Amazon FBA at higher prices.
So what you do is, you buy those items at very low prices from those vendors, right? And then you keep a stock with you, and then you sell them at a higher price at Amazon using your Amazon vendor account. So that's how it works. It's called retail arbitrage. You buy from wholesalers and others at very low prices and sell it in Amazon, right? Using your Amazon account as an Amazon retail. So that's how it works. But you have to now have inventory, right? You have to buy those things and maintain inventory with you. Retail arbitrage.
And the reason this business model works is because a lot of consumers don't have access to liquidation outlets and are willing to pay full price on Amazon. And what's nice about this model is that you don't need a website. You can leverage Amazon's huge marketplace for instant sales, and there are few startup costs except for just your initial inventory. But the major downside is that your business is 100% at the mercy of Amazon, and you need to consistently find or go shopping for new goods to list on the platform. Now, this basically means that retail arbitrage is very difficult to scale because you end up spending most of your time hunting for bargains. In addition, Amazon has introduced new rules that strongly discourage this business model going forward. So for example, Amazon has been preventing sellers from selling certain brands without express approval from the manufacturer. So let's say you just spent $2,000 in a killer clearance sale of Legos. Well, Lego is a brand that Amazon recently banned sellers from selling. So guess what? All of a sudden, you're stuck with $2,000 worth of inventory, that you can't get rid of because you no longer can sell it on Amazon.
So what happens is, what he says is, sometimes Amazon bans certain products to be sold, certain brands. Now Legos, so it's children's toys, right? And in fact, let's say you bought from a liquidator, right, a huge stock of these kind of Legos or toys, but then you are now selling that inventory, right, in Amazon, but then Amazon suddenly, right, bans that particular brand for some reason. So Lego is a good example. Then what happens? You bought for $2,000 those items at a very low price, but now you are unable to sell a single item. So the entire $2,000 will be waste. So that those things could happen under retail arbitrage model. That's what he said.
In fact, all it takes is one such incident to shut your business down. And for that reason, I believe that retail arbitrage is at great risk. Amazon is placing more focus on supporting brands which do not favor those who sell other people's products. I've also heard that Amazon is charging a large upfront cost to sell certain brands on the order of thousands of dollars. So bottom line, I would probably avoid retail arbitrage for now until things settle down. So in terms of ease of launch, I give it an 8. All you got to do is go shopping and sign up for an Amazon account. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 5. You can make money right away, but it's not easily scalable. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 2 because Amazon's new policies make this model very risky. And finally, in terms of level of competition, I give it a 5 because low margins and competition from other sellers selling identical products makes it a challenge to maintain consistent profits. Now, the next business model is dropshipping on Amazon. Now, dropshipping on Amazon is very...
Now, this is now dropshipping again. Dropshipping on Amazon. Let's see how it's been done. Earlier also we had dropshipping in your own website, right? You can remember, right? And then also you dropshipped in using Amazon. Now this is dropshipping on Amazon. How will you do that?
Very similar to dropshipping on your own website, except the main difference, of course, is that you are dropshipping the goods directly to Amazon customers. So here's how it works. First, you must find distributors willing to dropship on your behalf. Then you list the item on Amazon as merchant fulfilled. And whenever you make a sale on Amazon, you contact the distributor and the distributor ships your product to the end customer. Now, it's important to note that this business model does not use FBA or fulfilled by Amazon. So you are responsible for fulfilling the order in a timely...
So here, FBA is fulfilled by Amazon. So when you buy something, if it says fulfilled by Amazon, that means it's fulfilled by Amazon. But this does not use FBA because it's not fulfilled by Amazon. It's fulfilled by different vendors that you have contacted, and they are now shipping that directly to the customers.
manner. But overall, this model is attractive because there are no startup costs. You don't need a website. You can instantly have hundreds of products at your disposal that you can immediately sell on Amazon. But the problem with this business model is that anyone can contact the exact same wholesaler and get access to the exact same product mix. The other thing that's extremely dangerous about this business model is that Amazon has very stringent requirements on seller quality and on-time shipments. So let's say it's Black Friday and you sell a whole bunch of product, but when you go and contact a distributor, all of a sudden they tell you that the item is out of stock due to an inventory glitch. Well, guess what? Amazon is probably going to ban your account. Anytime a shipment is canceled or delayed, you run the risk of getting banned from ever selling again. And in episode 108 of my podcast, my buddy John Rampton...
You may know of FlexJobs as a job search website, but we're a whole lot more than that. We're a job search service that offers...
who was making millions of dollars dropshipping on Amazon, lost his 7-figure business overnight. Now you should definitely check out this episode for all the details, but basically he got banned because an inventory glitch with his dropshipper resulted in a bunch of sold orders that could not be fulfilled, and he literally lost millions of dollars in potential revenue overnight. So overall, it's really easy to start a dropshipping business on Amazon, and the profit potential is pretty good, but this business model is just way too risky because you're depending on someone else for your Amazon reputation. Now, the past has also shown that Amazon can be very quick with the ban hammer because the consumer always comes first. So here's how I rate this business model. In terms of ease of launch, I give it an 8 because all you need is a dropship vendor. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 7 because you can make instant sales, albeit at low margins. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 1 because any inventory glitch or late shipment can get you banned. And in terms of level of competition, I give it a 3 because low margins and competition from other sellers selling identical products makes it a challenge to maintain profits. The next business model is selling private label goods on Amazon. Now, private label.
Okay, now see what's this. Private label items. What do you mean by that? Private label items means your own brands, private labels. You have created your own brand and you are selling that on Amazon. That's what it means.
Is the act of placing your own brand or label on a product that you manufacture yourself. And the way this business model works is that you first have to find a manufacturer to produce products for you in bulk where they allow you to use your own brand. And in most cases, this vendor can be found overseas or in China via Alibaba. And once you produce your product, you then ship your goods off to Amazon FBA and take advantage of Amazon's huge marketplace to sell your goods. Now, because you are manufacturing and buying your products in bulk, there is a much larger upfront cost. And as a result, I recommend that you be willing to invest a minimum of $1,000 to $2,000 on your initial inventory. But in general, there are relatively few barriers to entry. You don't need a website to sell. You don't need to generate your own traffic because you're leveraging Amazon's marketplace. There are no inventory requirements. And overall, this business model is a bit more challenging than the others because it often requires interaction with a vendor outside of the country. But what's nice about private labeling is that you own your brand, you own your products, and the margins are super high, greater than 66%. And because Amazon's marketplace is so large, you can make a lot of money very quickly. But the main downside is that you're dependent on Amazon and you are subject to all the negatives of selling on their marketplace. So for example, any reasonably successful listing will attract piggybackers and hijackers. You will also have to constantly monitor your products for negative feedback and product quality issues because Amazon could ban your products or your account at any time. And because you're investing a large sum up front for inventory, getting banned on Amazon could result in you getting stuck with a lot of unsellable product. Now, I've been selling private label products on Amazon for many years now, and because the marketplace is so cutthroat, I've also encountered many unscrupulous sellers. And some of these sellers have been downright low and despicable. But overall, selling private label products is very attractive because you own the brand, you own the product, and you have the option of selling on your own website. And selling a private label product is by far the most sustainable way of making money on Amazon out of any of the other business models presented in this video.
Okay, he gave a very good tip. Selling private label. Now, up to now, he discussed several models. Up to now, then he's going to tell another one, right, which he prefers, and he'll show his own examples as well. So you will see up to now, selling private label items, right? That means your own branded items. So you are, for an example, you are going to buy those items. Let's say first of all, you are going to buy from a supplier from Alibaba from China. Then you are going to add some value and you are going to brand it by using your own brand and sell it. So that's called private label items, own brand items. But the thing is, anyone else also could do that, isn't it? Anyone else also could, buy that from Alibaba and do the same thing and have another brand name. And it all depends on what kind of value that you add. Sometimes you don't add any value, it's just the branding. And so it might not be sustainable. There might be competition as well. But on the other hand, if you have unique access to those suppliers, then that's a good point. Because I know there was some of the entrepreneurs, what they did was they bought certain items, spices, unique spices from certain manufacturers, certain growers, certain farmers in Sri Lanka. And they started selling that on Amazon. So no others had access to those cultivators, farmers. So these guys had that and they had that advantage, a unique advantage. Okay. So this is another way that you could make money on Amazon. Because Amazon is a huge marketplace. And if you do it properly, so you don't need your own website. You don't need your e-commerce setups and everything. It's just like listing unique items over there and selling that. So you have to have an inventory indeed and a private label. If you do it properly, that's good. But on the other hand, there's competition. Others also might get access, see that what you're doing, and they might try to replicate your business model and sell the same item with a different private label or a brand on Amazon. But if you have, if you have direct access, of course, to and unique access, exclusive access, right, for those items, then of course there won't be an issue. Okay, so this is where, right, selling private label items on Amazon.
In terms of rating this business model, ease of launch is a 6 because you need to find a manufacturer and invest a decent chunk of change in inventory. Profit velocity is 10 because you can make instant sales at very high margins. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 7 because there's a possibility of getting banned on Amazon, but you do own the brand. And then finally, in terms of level of competition, I give it an 8 because outside of product sourcing and niche selection, there's actually not much to it. All right, the next business model is selling wholesale goods on Amazon. Now,
selling wholesale goods on Amazon. Right, this is the next business model. Selling wholesale goods on Amazon. What's that? Let's see.
Another business model that is closely related to selling private label products on Amazon is selling wholesale products using FBA. Now, to sell wholesale products on Amazon, you must first find distributors who offer a variety of products for sale, and then you can use these online arbitrage tools to help you find them. Then you essentially buy those products, usually from your home country with very low minimums, and list them on Amazon using
Learn valuable business and IT skills in your own
FBA, and margins are typically on the order of 50%. Now, similar to private labeling, there are very few barriers to entry. You don't need a website, and all you need to do is to find wholesalers with large product catalogs who will allow you to sell on their behalf. And once you've signed on with a couple of vendors, you can instantly have hundreds of products to sell at your disposal. Now, overall, the main advantage over private labeling is that you often have to buy in extremely low unit quantities, and the turnaround time is super fast. And in many cases, the minimum order is on the order of hundreds of dollars. But the main downside to this business model is that you are selling the exact same product as other sellers, which will eventually lead to eroding prices. Sure, you could find a profitable product to sell on Amazon temporarily, but since everyone has access to the same product portfolio, it's just a matter of time until your wholesale cash cow gets discovered and the prices start to plummet. Now, this is exactly what happened to my friend Lars. For about a year, he was the only seller of a gardening product on Amazon, but as soon as it was discovered, it was only a matter of months before the prices plummeted, reducing his profits to nothing. So here's how I rate this business model. In terms of ease of launch, I give it a 7 because all you need is a wholesale vendor and an Amazon account. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 7 because you can make instant sales. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 3 because your product portfolio is being sold by multiple sellers and your prices will plummet sooner or later. And finally, in terms of level of competition, I give it a 3 because there's many courses pushing this model right now, and it's only a matter of time before it gets saturated. Now, the next business model is selling wholesale on your own website.
Alright, now selling wholesale on your own website. Selling wholesale on your own website. Now you are not going to use Amazon or eBay or whatever third party. You are going to be selling wholesale on your own website. We'll see.
Now, selling wholesale on your own website and carrying inventory is what most people think of as the traditional e-commerce business model. And the way domestic wholesale typically works is that margins tend to be in the 50% range and you sell using your own website. You also need to handle your own inventory or use a 3PL. Now, like selling wholesale on Amazon, you can contact a wholesaler and receive access to a bunch of products right away without a large upfront cost. And if your wholesalers in the US, for example, the minimum order is often on the order of $100. And the best part is that you are in control of your own store brand, but competing with other shops selling the exact same item will still be challenging. So here's how I rate this business model. In terms of ease of launch, I give it a 5 because you need to find a wholesale vendor and launch your own website. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 4 because you got to pay for ads and build up your own traffic, even though the margins are on the order of 50%. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 6. You're in charge of your own brand and shopping experience, but you're under pricing pressure from other vendors and Amazon. And then finally, in terms of level of competition, I give it a 5 because finding a unique value proposition is going to be difficult, and you will likely need to differentiate yourself with content marketing. Now, the final business model
Okay, so that also has certain downsides. And by the way, he told 3PL. What's that stands for? Third party logistics, right? Either you have to handle the inventory or you have to use third party logistics in delivery, right? Maybe DHL, maybe something else. Okay. Then let's see what's the eighth business model. That's the most interesting one. Let's see.
Is the one that I like the best, which is selling private label products on your own website.
Okay, rather than wholesale, now you are trying to sell private label items, your own brand items on your website. So this is what he prefers and what he says it's most lucrative. Okay, let's see.
Now, selling private label products on your own website has the highest long-term potential, and this involves manufacturing your own products and driving traffic to your own e-commerce store. And along with selling private label on Amazon, this requires some upfront capital and investment, but also carries the greatest long-term sustainability. By having your own branded products on your own branded website, you are literally in control of everything. You can set pricing and define your product however you want, and you can never get banned by anyone. So in the long run, if you're willing to put forth the work, selling your own branded products on your own site, it is by far the most secure way to run an e-commerce business, and it is very easy to own your list and get repeat customers. And just as an example, repeat customers represents over 36% of our annual revenues. Now, when I rate this business model in terms of ease of launch, I give it a 4 because you need to source your own goods and launch a website. In terms of profit velocity, I give it a 7 because you got to pay for ads and build up your own traffic, even though margins are in the order of 66+%. In terms of sustainability and risk, I give it a 10 because you are in charge of your own brand, your own destiny, and your own shopping experience. And then finally, in terms of level of competition, I give it a 9 because finding a unique value proposition is much easier when you are in full control over everything. So now that you have an overview of all the different e-commerce business models, it's important to note that there's nothing that excludes you from combining the different models. So for example, just because I run my own site does not mean that I can't sell on Amazon as well. And just because I sell my own private label products does not mean that I can't dropship a couple of products on my site too. And just because I sell private label products on Amazon doesn't mean that I can't sell wholesale products on Amazon too. So I suggest that you give all these business models a try to see which one fits your personality. Overall, I always recommend selling private label products both on Amazon and on your own online store, because if you're going to spend the effort to launch an online store, you may as well choose a business model that is sustainable in the long run. Now, for my e-commerce business, we sell private label products on Amazon, we sell private label products on our own store, and we also sell a few wholesale products as well. And in the past, we also dropshipped a couple of items to fill out our store. But the key thing to remember is that the more effort you place on your business, the more defensible it will be. And if there's one key takeaway here, it's that you don't want to be tempted into doing something quick and easy because chances are it won't be sustainable. With retail arbitrage, Amazon is already changing the rules by preventing any arbitrary seller from selling certain brands. So just be conscious of your cash flow needs and decide whether you'll be satisfied with temporary cash versus something built to last. Now, one of the main reasons I like running an online store that sells private label products is because the barriers to entry are a lot higher. Now, because I have to source products and establish relationships with vendors, that is one extra task that a competitor has to do in order to copy my business idea. And because I manufacture many of my own products and control my own website, it is also much more difficult for someone else to carry the exact same products that I carry or to copy my site. Now, the additional barriers to entry means that once my business is off its feet, it has much more staying power in the long run. Now, I cover most of these business models in my course on how to start a profitable online store. So if you're interested in learning how to start your own.
Okay. So he's a little bit marketing himself. Okay. It's very reasonable, of course. So I think you got a very good idea of how in real world they make money, right? Using online stores, right? Online e-commerce. So if you are an entrepreneur and if you are thinking of making some additional bucks, of course, doing a business conveniently as well as sustainability is a challenge. Right? Sometimes it's very easy to start certain things, but it might not be sustainable. In English language, it says easy come, easy go. Right? So So therefore, you have to be extremely careful in that. So what was his suggestion finally? What was the most profitable venture as well as sustainable venture? Profitable and sustainable venture. Students, are you with me? He explained 8 models. What was the most profitable as well as sustainable one? Most sustainable one?
Selling private label on Amazon.
Very good. Selling private label on Amazon. Very good, Putta. So that's on. Thank you, Putta. You gave an excellent answer indeed. So it's the private label items, right? In retail. Rather than wholesale, you can sell it in retail. And that will be, even if you are trying to, if you are inspired by these videos and the content that we are covering, then you can even think of that as the example I told. This person was selling cinnamon, right? A value-added cinnamon product, right? As a private label item, its own brand, and it worked very fine. But the only problem was he encountered a problem, but later he solved that. That was getting certain items shipped from Sri Lanka to certain customers in certain countries. So the government restrictions were there, and it created some issues. But again, they were resolved, and he's now very successful. Right. And the other thing is that now here it was physical items that this person was talking about. But then on the other hand, you can provide services, right? Even accounting services, bookkeeping services online, on an online basis, right? So of course it takes time and effort to organize and deliver a good service and get trust, of course, as well. But once it picks up, and once you create confidence, trust among your customers, of course, it would be a great venture. Okay, right. So that's about, right, 8 real world e-commerce models. Any questions out of that? Is it clear? Okay. So this, so day after tomorrow, Saturday, we are going to meet. And as I told you, we are going to discuss about the case study. So I'll allow you time to discuss about a common case study. And I'll be giving certain questions, and you'll have to come up with a presentation, right? I'll give you time to formulate answers in the class itself. Then I'll ask you to present. So it's a classwork. So you have to come for the classes indeed. So if you don't come to the classes, you lose marks. So that's what he says, classwork. So in a way, it's another way to tell, please come for the classes. Is it? Okay. Right. Give me a moment. All right. Although I'm not going to commence the next session, but again, just to give you an idea of what we are going to do next. So we have finished chapter number 2 completely, and even with additional discussion. So next time I'm going to start with chapter number 3. So let me just give you a basic introduction, and with that we'll finish. But chapter number 3. And I'll just start with but the basic introduction. So this is chapter number 3. Hope you can see the slides. The chapter number 3 is about managing digital business infrastructure. So here, first of all, we'll understand what's digital business infrastructure. We'll understand the digital business infrastructure has three components. Right. So with that, I'm going to finish. But again, can you tell me what are the three components by reading this definition of digital business infrastructure? And with that, we'll finish. This will start with, and then we'll continue at maybe on Saturday once we finish the presentations. Right. What's digital business infrastructure? Can you go through this definition and tell me? If you look carefully, there are three components of digital business infrastructure. What are those? What are those?
Desktop computers, mobile devices.
Very good, very good. Excellent. I'm really thankful for the students who, and in fact, I'm noting down who are speaking. And I'm going to take that into consideration because majority I don't see are engaging. Right? But I can see some people are engaging. So I really need to appreciate it. Yes, you are exactly correct. Of course, there are three components. The hardware, that's what you are referring to. Hardware, software, and the network. Hardware is, as you very correct, all desktop computers, mobile devices. Those are hardware. Then the computers needs to be networked to be connected and communicated. So that's the network. And of course, you need the software. Hardware itself is not enough. So that's what we call it as digital business infrastructure. Okay, so we'll be discussing more about that. So I'll be introducing more concepts like what are the certain issues if you don't have proper infrastructure as customers, what will be facing. Then we'll also discuss a very interesting topic, app versus web division, right? So then we'll also be looking at this, what is augmented reality. And you will see how a business, a new business from America, how that business went to South Korea, and being an American business, how they became almost number one, outperforming the indigenous South Korean supermarkets, right? So we'll discuss that as well. Then I'll be explaining the 5-layer model of digital business infrastructure. So these things are there. So the difference between internet and www, then the difference between HTTP and HTML, we'll be discussing. And what's a URL, how to dissect a URL, we'll understand. And domain names, and even for STAB, what kind of domain name we could propose. And on 4th, 5th April, we'll have our own website after a long battle. And those kind of things. Then finally, we'll be also discussing about SaaS, software as a service, and we'll be also discussing about cloud computing. And there'll be an assignment on that as well. Okay, so those are the things online. So we'll discuss those things and we'll see how we could cover these things as well as understand and apply. Okay, any questions? I hope it's clear. Right, we have 45 people, 43 people there, but again, I know active involvement is very low. So at least please watch the video, download it and watch the video. So it will be much helpful for your examination as well as for your class assessments. So based on this, I might have even class assessments. So therefore, please go through these things and get ready. And particularly on this Saturday, we'll have a discussion on a group presentation on EcoMom case study. Okay, so with that, then we'll finish for today. Thank you very much and good night. Please take care.